to get tough. Yo, Joe! Is it just me, or is that the worst cartoon intro ever? Well, hello there, ladies and gents. I'm Photo Dave, and this is Toypixx, a channel dedicated to helping you and helping me get a whole lot better at our action figure photography. So if that sounds cool to you, go ahead and click subscribe while I describe what's going on in today's video. Folks, today, I'm going to show you my GI Joe Classified collection. Now, what does that have to do with toy photography? For my money, GI Joe Classified is easily the best action figure line that Hasbro produces for putting under the lights and in front of your lens. That's why. That's what they have to do with action figure photography. Now, the good news is, if you haven't gotten on the G.I. Joe train yet, chances are you can still find most of these figures relatively inexpensively. So I'll be sure to put product links from Amazon and eBay in the description below. Those are affiliate links, so I'll make a commission if you click on those and buy something. But it won't cost you any more money. But trust me, right now, this is a good time to get into G.I. Joe because they're starting to really ramp up, and it's going to get pricey in a hurry. So without further ado, let's take you to the figures. Let's talk Classified. G.I. Joe Classified has become one of my absolute favorite lines to collect. It's all about the nostalgia. These are not mostly complete figures. One thing I wish Hasbro would do is include hands and head options inside the package for these guys. Even if they have to raise the price, I think they would compete with Mafex. I really do. These figures are that good. But another alternative could be that they release a hand pack with fists and open palms and all that kind of stuff, because a lot of these hands are just repaints, so you just paint them up differently and make them for Duke and Flint because their hands are the same, and then find out who else needs them. Anyway, that would be something I think would be really cool, as if they had a hand pack to go with these. So, starting from left, I have a Ram Cycle. I don't have Breaker. One of the rules I had when it came to collecting G.I. Joe Classified is that the figure has to evoke the character that it's supposed to represent. And there was nothing about Breaker that, when I looked at him, made me think Breaker. And I'm not a customizer, so I wasn't going to try and make the OG-13 from him or anything like that, so he had to go. Now, let's go way back here. There's Commando Snake Eyes. He's pretty cool, but honestly, if I were to keep one Snake Eyes, he would not be the one. Still, every time I consider maybe selling this guy, I just pose him up and I go, ooh, I don't know that I could. And then we've got Barbecue. Barbecue is one from the vaunted 1985 line, and 85 is my favorite G.I. Joe year, so I'm just gonna have Barbecue, and I'll have all the others from 85 because I'm just that sick. Now, Gung Ho is the latest addition to my collection. The reason I don't have the other Gung Ho is pretty much for the same reason as Breaker. The only thing that really evoked Gung Ho was he was wearing a vest, but there was no teal. There just weren't enough things about the other Gung Ho to make me think Gung Ho. So while I am not an all 80s, all the time kind of guy, this Gung Ho is pretty perfect with his teal going on. Big fan. Then we've got Conrad. Ooh, Duke. Duke is probably one of my least favorite characters in G.I. Joe. I can't tell you why. I mean, I think it probably has to do with looking up ranks and all that stuff and realizing Flint should be in charge, and I always thought Flint was cooler anyway, but I can't argue with how good this figure looks. I know a lot of people don't like the gold on him, but I'm a fan. I think this is a pretty good representation of just an evil, evil character. And then we've got the Heavy Infantry Roadblock. Huge fan of this thing. That's when they really started going nuts with the face sculpts. He just looks great, and the pack that I've got on him is from Gridiron Studios. If as I'm going through you recognize or you don't recognize some of the weapons, just go to Gridiron Studios and you'll find them there, because they really know how to arm the Joes. Just be careful, because the resin or whatever they use when they make the weapons is pretty brittle, so you want to make sure to heat up hands and all that good stuff before trying to put them in there. I've actually broken stuff off of this roadblock because of that and had to replace the set. So yeah, now we've got Spirit and Freedom. Freedom is phenomenal just on his own. All you have to do is swap out some wings. He's flying. He's got crazy articulation for being that little bird dude. But then Spirit, all the detail on this guy is phenomenal. He's got a knife that is just crazy. He's got a gun that has feathers on it. He's just really, really cool. And let's see, they gave him the short sleeves that they should have given Flint. Jerk faces. But yeah, everything about Spirit is just, it totally evokes character. And that's one of the big reasons I had to have him. Plus, even though he doesn't have his 80s look, which again is totally fine by me, he definitely evokes that Spirit feeling. So that's one of those rules that, hey, I can get Spirit now. Then if we're coming back, we've got Allison Hart Burnett. Lady J is probably the best female figure that Hasbro has made, if I'm being honest. Now, there are things that I wish they did better. Her hips, she can't put her legs together very well. So that sounds horrible. But she can't do that. I hope they're able to fix that in future releases. But she's got the bicep swivel, the double elbows. She has articulation at her abdomen and her waist. So she just is really well articulated. Great looking figure. I'm a big fan, obviously. And now we've got my favorite G.I. Joe character. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the man. Flint is the greatest. I love the update they made. The only thing I wish they'd done was give him the short sleeves like Spirit has. You can tell just too easily that he's a repaint of Duke, and Duke's evil, so that's kind of irritating. And then we've got Beachhead. Beachhead is one of those, he looks perfect. The update is perfect. I just think he's really incredible. Now, on the other hand, sometimes I try to figure out new ways to focus the collection, and I think to myself, maybe if I just get rid of anything past 1985, like characters that originally showed up past 1985, I could really trim it. But then I'd miss out on characters like Beachhead and Crocmaster and the Bat and Alley Viper and Mindbender and Serpent. Anyway, you get the point. So, yeah, really cool figure. They did a great job on Beachhead. And now this Snake Eyes is probably my favorite figure in the line. The sculpt is amazing. He just works incredibly well. The shine, the texture, everything is perfect. Like the shine is going on kind of where you would assume he has sort of a glossy leather outfit. And then he's got the dull leather straps. He just has a great look. He moves so well. He came with a ton of stuff. This is the deluxe version, unfortunately. He's harder to come by and he's pretty pricey, but he is probably my very favorite figure in the collection. And then we've got Timber. You can't hate on Timber, mostly because when my niece comes by to play, she loves using the animals. And Timber was the first real cool animal that I ever got from Hasbro. This thing's just ridiculously cool. I don't understand why it took so long, but I'm really geeked to see these are here now. And that, folks, is my G.I. Joe collection when it comes to the good guys. Now, on to the Cobra. And here we have my villainous Cobra lot. Now, here's the thing, right up front, I have two omissions here that are pretty apparent. One, I don't have Cobra Commander. I just didn't like that first one, so I got it, didn't like it, sold it. And then Baroness, I thought she looked great, but once Lady J came out with double elbows and bicep swivel and all that good stuff, I kind of decided, okay, Baroness has to go because I'm sure they'll make one with the double elbows and bicep swivel in the future. So those two, not here. However, there's a whole lot that are, so let's get cracking. Starting in the back, we have 8 Cobra Troopers. Now, I chose the Cobra Trooper over the Cobra Infantry because of those goggles. Look at how just evil and scary almost Cobra looks with those goggles. I think those just make a huge difference. So yeah, 8 of those, my favorite army builder, an updated look. One thing I do have to say about Cobra, whereas with GI Joe I do wish they'd update their looks a little more, Cobra's looks for a lot of the figures it's really timeless. Like, they're so out there and they're so wacky that they could almost happen most any time, I think. But let's keep going. We've got a bat. I have 2 more bats on pre-order. Love this thing. It's got all the attachments it needs. I would say it is the only GI Joe Classified figure that I would classify as a complete figure, because he's a robot, he has everything, he doesn't need fists, he doesn't need crazy hands or anything, he's already got a couple heads. All he needs to do is drop his hand on somebody to take him out. So I think that might be the only one I would consider a complete figure. Love that thing. And we've got an Alley Viper. I have a couple more of those guys on pre-order. Perfect recreation of, I believe, the 89 one. It just looks phenomenal, and the detail they put into it, the way they gave it kind of a scanner, a sensor inside the shield, great work. I really think the GI Joe team's firing on all cylinders. And then we've got a Cobra officer. I've got all of those I need. I've got 2 of them. You wouldn't think there'd be a huge difference between him and the Cobra Trooper, but there really is. Like, there's a lot that they changed, specifically around the boot and forearm area. They gave him the different harness. His head is totally different. Obviously, his helmet's a lot different. Gotta love the silver sigil. And he's got more realistic looking weapons. So he's just a really good figure that was also a solid update. Now, let's go back over here. You know what? Let's go in the middle with Firefly. I know a lot of people really want a new Firefly, one that's a little more classic, and they'll get them, it sounds like, but for me, I think this is pretty good. The only problem I have is his legs feel a little fragile, so I'll have to go in with a little more oil, because I've done that once already, and I want to just make sure he moves how he should without snapping in pieces. And I'm not saying I wouldn't get the retro Firefly, but I'm totally good with this dude. Now over here's Zartan. This guy is one of those where sometimes I have a little regret for missing the exclusive one, but on the other hand, this one just looks villainous and merc-like Zartan should. Plus he's got the snake head and the monkey paw on his backpack. Let's see if I get those in there. Yeah, there we go. Those are just ridiculous accessories that bring so much life to this guy, this swampy dude. So yeah, I'm a fan. I think he looks great. I love the updated work they did to him. He has all kinds of accessories. Zartan's a great figure. And then of course, we have to go with Zartan's best friend from the cartoon, Destro. By the way, he's not really Zartan's best friend, but he's a great figure. He's the first one that came out, I would say, in a wave that was truly phenomenal. I think that this Destro is much better than the Scarlet or the Duke or the Roadblock that came with him, and the Snake Eyes that came in that wave is a great figure. I just prefer that deluxe version more. But this Destro has a slightly shiny head. It's shiny enough for the collection. I think it looks great. I like the slightly updated armor pieces that they painted on him. So you've got kind of those ridges going on. The armor's a little gray-brown. Just looks really good, and it's not a straight-up recreation, and that's something that I do appreciate with these figures. And now Major Blood, who's probably about my favorite update, and probably the Cobra villain that I've taken the most pictures of. Now, I can't confirm that totally, because I'm not going to go back and count all those pictures, but this guy is just ruthless. His head sculpt. Let's see if we can get a decent shot there. Look at that. This is just a dude to not be messed with. He's a great, great figure and totally deadly. He and Destro, without Cobra Commander and Baroness, are kind of the guys I'm using to lead my Cobra army. And of course, you gotta have Crocmaster. Yeah, he's just sweet. The texturing they did on his clothes, like the Croc type texture, because, hey, he's got to show those Crocs who's boss. Whoa, that went out a little bit. He's got to show those Crocs who's boss, and so he just wears their family so they understand what's up. But he is a phenomenal figure. Just the design, the look going on him, but the real selling point of the pack with Crocmaster was Fiona here. This crocodile, she has real, like, texture to her beyond the sculpt. She's actually kind of rubbery, so you can squeeze her in, all that. But look at just how well sculpted that is. She moves incredibly well. This is probably one of my niece's favorite figures, actually, is Fiona here. She is just phenomenal and probably, like I say, the star of the set. But if I'm gonna go with my favorite Cobra figure right now, it's gotta be my newest one. Yes, friends, Storm Shadow here is an absolutely incredible figure. This is a pretty good recreation. It's not trying to be 100% like the old one. They're gonna do that with the retro one, I'm sure. But it just is phenomenal. It moves well. These butterfly joints are perfect. I already shot a picture of him throwing down with snake eyes, and I loved it just because of all the posing I can get going on with Tommy here. Just love everything about this figure. Again, the only thing I wish they had, few more hands, but other than that, this line is just killing it, and I can't wait to see what all's next. And that, folks, was my G.I. Joe Classified collection. Comment below, let me know if I'm missing any figures that you think are must-haves, and tell me about your collection. Are you really geeked about Classified? Are you a little lukewarm about Classified? Hey, put it in the comments, and we'll discuss. With all that out of the way, thanks again for watching. I really appreciate it. Thank you for subscribing, for liking, for commenting. I dig being on this crazy little Toypixx ride with the rest of you. So thanks again, and until next time, have fun and happy snapping. See ya.